Offensive lineman Gray Zabel, North Dakota State, one of my favorite players in the draft. The question has become, though, this is someone we talked a lot about early in the draft process. Then the Bears went out and added 3 big names on the interior of their offensive line. So is Gray Zabel still in play for the Chicago Bears? How would that happen? Well, probably talking about a trade back scenario where the Bears are not making a pick at number 10, because that would feel like a reach, especially given that it's not as big of a need anymore. So the question then is, if you do move back, what would be the scenario where you'd still want to take Gray Zabel? Well, if you look at what they did, I mean, they probably would not be drafting him as a center. Drew Dahlman gave him a lot of money. He's pretty much locked in long-term as the center. But Joe Thuney, until that extension comes, is there a world in which, even if it's not after 1 year, maybe 2 years, whatever it is, at his age, are you drafting that potential replacement or an insurance policy for Jonah Jackson at right guard, or just depth in general on the interior of your offensive line? Let's not forget about how important that is, and the Bears could probably still use more of that. Now, all that might seem like a reach for a first-round pick at this point, but when you consider how good Gray Zabel might actually be, it could still be worth it. Now, he comes from North Dakota State, an outstanding program at the FCS level. They keep pumping out prospects into the NFL, and a lot of offensive linemen too. Well coached coming out of that school always. And this is another one of their prospects who played left tackle and is probably just because of the size limitations going to kick inside to guard or even center. I like Gray Zabel a lot, and I know our draft analyst at All City, Fran Duffy, loves Gray Zabel a lot. So let's hear more from Fran.
All right, time for me to now talk about Gray Zabel from North Dakota State, one of my personal favorites in this class. 6'6", 312 pounds. Played left tackle last year for the Bison out of North Dakota State, but this is a guy that's played all 5 offensive line positions. This guy's got great positional versatility moving into the NFL. That is certainly one of the strengths of the profile, but it doesn't end there. Because honestly, when you're talking about Zabel, I go back and forth. What is his superpower? What is the biggest thing to latch on with him? Well, versatility certainly stands out. He's a great athlete, and he's also tough as all get out. So this is a guy, if you're going to start your profile as an offensive lineman with versatility, athleticism, and toughness, you are cooking with gas moving forward to the league. And so I think when you're looking at his skill set, it starts there, but then you also just get into a really clean profile. This is a longtime starter at a program that is known for putting offensive linemen into the NFL. I liked the athleticism, the play strength, absolutely there. You watch him against FBS competition. They played Colorado early on in the season, and I think when you watch that tape, going up against guys from the Big 12, he's moving defenders off the ball. He's creating movement at the point of attack. Then again, great senior film. Go to the Senior Bowl. What do you look like down there going up against your peers, against some of the other top players in the country? I think with Gray Zabel, he went and he aced the Senior Bowl. He was one of the best players in Mobile, regardless of position, during the week of practice. And then he goes to the Combine, aces the Combine. Great performance in the athletic testing, in the positional drills. So with Gray Zabel, look, he did it in the FCS level. How high are you willing to take an FCS prospect? We've seen guys go in the top 10 from the FCS level in recent years. Is a team willing to do that along the offensive line? Everything in the profile says that this guy has what it takes to be a long-time starter in the league. Reminded me a little bit when I first watched him of Graham Barton, who was a top 25 pick by the Tampa Bay Bucks out of Duke last year. It was a left tackle that they moved to center. A lot of people feel that that is Barton's best position moving forward. He has played the least amount of center over the course of his career, so a little bit of projection required there, but if you have a center, you want him to play guard, he's got the ability to do that. I think he's scheme versatile. In terms of areas of improvement, a lot of penalties. He had 21 penalties in his career. Outside of that, I mean, if that's going to be the biggest knock on an offensive lineman, it could certainly get worse. Especially if you'd rather see a guy have to be pulled back as opposed to trying to gear up that tenacity and that aggressiveness, right? So when you're looking at Zabel, really clean profile, really clean process, easy to project him forward into the NFL.
So Fran has Gray Zabel, number 14 overall on his big board. That's not too far off from the Bears pick at number 10, by the way. And for his entire big board and all of his draft analysis, make sure you are a CHGO diehard and you can get access to the entire all-city draft database. It is outstanding. But when it comes to Gray Zabel, again, this is a situation where I think he's a really good player and could fit Ben Johnson's offense the way he can get to the second level. He's athletic. He's stout at the line of scrimmage too. Just really good tape across the board. It just becomes a matter of need. So if I were to say there was any scenario that Gray Zabel is a Chicago Bear, it would be a trade back, and not even just a little trade back, like maybe one where they drop all the way back into the 20s and Zabel also falls. And now you're seeing somebody there, okay, there's a lot of value here. Maybe it's not the sexiest pick of all time, but continuing to add to the offensive line, you can never go wrong in that regard. So Gray Zabel, possibly to the Chicago Bears, unlikely, maybe not completely off the table though.